Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Buffs on Podcast. We are the best POD in the 313. Coming off of two close losses this week. Did they sting a little? Yeah, they did. But hopefully they will all be worth it on lottery night. The tip-in from Wendell Carter Jr. in Orlando and what seemed like a heartbreaker at home against Toronto. But we're going to try to put all of that aside for the most part today. We want to throw at you guys some of our initial post All-Star game thoughts. We have two games under our belt, as I just mentioned. So we want to talk about, what we think those two games can indicate and how the rest of the season will play out. We'll start with Valley because he's the first one on my screen. What are some of your initial thoughts post All-Star break?
The main thing for me was Jaden Ivey's play, more particularly in that first game against Orlando, where he knocked down 5 out of 7 threes. He dropped 25 points. And it just got me thinking, kind of against the duel against Paolo Banchero. I was wondering if it's too late to push the narrative Ivey's way. He followed it up with a nice 10 and 10 performance despite not shooting well. The question, or at least what I took away is I think Jaden Ivey is going to be the best player in his class, and I think it's going to be by a pretty sizable margin.
Ooh, hot take. Hot take. I mean, he has been playing well for sure. We'll have to see. I think Greg had mentioned it. Teams are adjusting to Paolo, so let's see how Paolo adjusts back because as he's displayed, he's got game.
Just two quotes real quick of something that's getting me even on board with what Ivey said. First one was before we played the Magic, Dwayne Casey said in the morning shoot-around in the Amway Center that the staff of the Amway Center had to kick Jaden Ivey off the court because he was taking too long in his shoot-around. Some real Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality stuff. And then after the game, Jaden Ivey said, they were going under me all game and I was confused. I work on my game every day. I felt like they were disrespecting me a little bit. Combine that with a really good performance and another solid performance and just the it factor he has about him when he plays. The more reason why I decide that he's going to be the best player in his class.
Connie, you and your impressions after the All-Star break.
Yeah, if we're talking Jaden Ivey, I think I'm at my current to this point peak for my opinion on Jaden Ivey and what I think he is and what I think he can be. What has surprised me so much or blown me away is that jump shot. I guess it's a bad time to say because last game he went 3 for 16 and didn't shoot great, but I thought there was a period where teams were just going under and he was just clanking those threes, but those threes are starting to really tune in. And along with that, so is the MIDI, that sort of second level game, which unlocks the three, which unlocks the layup. If he can become a legitimate 3-level scorer and a 3-level scorer that has to be respected 3 levels, truly the sky is the limit. Because as I said, the hard work, the jump shot, and if you combine that with just his best skill, which is his physical attributes, Jaden Ivey has, Valley said, best player in his class potential. I think going forward, when this team might actually be good, I think Jaden Ivey might be the best player on the team.
We coming out of the gate hot after the All-Star break. Boy, geez.
And that's nothing against Cade. I think they're both gonna be great, but I think with the physical tools,
I was thinking of a similar thing in terms of just I was texting my buddy Jake. I'm like, yo, I think this guy's gonna be a career or a season 25 plus point per game scorer for a while. And I was like, is that too low? 25? And it got me thinking, how would things look then? Would Cade, obviously stack up some more assists and other stuff? I'm all for that though. I really am, and I do see the potential in Jaden Ivey being the best player on this team.
Watching him grow this season, they say development is slow. It's crazy just watching. Last year we got to watch Cade, and this year we get to watch Ivey and Duren. We got to watch Killian for 3 years, but that's besides the point. You see these guys constantly developing as each game, each day goes on, each new move they add to their repertoire, how consistent they can become. Ivey has until this most recent game against Toronto. But I'm with you guys. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm at the same hype level as you guys are, and I'd love to be there. But I'm definitely on the train of. I knew he was going to be good, but he's each time I watch him, there's a new level unlocked of what I think he could actually be.
Yeah, Like he's always prone to make a cool play, but recently I think every game he's made one or two passes where I'm like, whoa, that was a point guard's pass. That was a pass that doesn't get thrown on this team. That was a no look drop off pass in the pick and roll to a dunker. That was like finding the roller over a man. And sometimes it's a turnover, but the playmaking, like just like every aspect of his game except for the defense has come along so well this season. The best ability a player can have is the willingness to improve, and that man has the willingness to improve. And I hope it translates to the defensive end at some point as well.
Yeah, and talking about passing, that pass Ivey made to Diallo, like that was pretty sweet. The Pistons actually had 3 of the NBA's top 10 plays yesterday. So,
Woo!
or if you count Livers getting crossed over, but that I don't think that
we're
not
talking about that.
Yeah, it never happened. But Gabe has joined the show. Gabe, we've just been talking about Jaden Ivey and how I'm gonna let Valley and Connie hype him up. They did a much better job than I did. So why don't you guys hype up Jaden one more time?
Valley said best possibility to become the best player in his class. I say he has the possibility to become the best player on this team, like flat out when we're good, including Cade Cunningham.
I would agree with Valley on that, only because I watched a Cade Cunningham highlight video today, and he's insane. But main point coming into this podcast was the post All-Star, how good Ivey has looked compared to his running mate next to him, which I don't know if you've gotten into that yet.
No, but we can. We should.
Okay,
we
we can. Yeah, like Ivey's blossoming here into passing, scoring, shooting, mid-range game off screens is what Killian just is not. It's just rough to see right now. He's getting roasted on defense as well on every switch. And like
I thought he's done good since the break though.
Yeah. We'll get into it.
We'll get into it. It's the most annoying thing to me is when I see Wiseman post up or like be under the rim for a lob and Killian just doesn't look for them. I don't know why. He can make that pass. He's just not doing it.
It was a pass. We saw him throwing consistent oops to Isaiah Stewart his rookie year, and we remember those as Pistons head fanatics. We remember those oops very fondly. But like, looks to me like he doesn't look for it at all anymore. The only passes this man makes, except very rarely, are around the perimeter. Like he'll have the pick and roll, he'll have the big roll in, he'll look him off to kick it to Bobanner, which like sure you get a 3-pointer out, but like you could call him a connective piece. I asked you guys this: what does Killian Hayes add on the offensive end that like any other player can't add?
In those closing lineups, I'd love Livers or Burks instead of Killian, with just let Ivey run the point.
Because he doesn't shoot. I guess he plays okay defense. So
but every switch,
I see him get burned a lot, and he gives up a lot of good ones. Maybe that's because we're so willing to switch, leave him on an island. But either way, I feel like I see him get burned a lot. They say he's a passer, but like those passes never. He'll hit a cutter.
He doesn't create.
Yeah, he's not. It's not creative, and it's not like connective enough. Like Josh Giddey, for instance, isn't I guess like a huge time creator. He creates a little bit, but he does it mostly with passing. But he passes to the point where it's like guys start cutting because of the way he passes. They're like, if I make this move, I will get the ball. Killian is not that dangerous with his pass. He's not dangerous with the creation. He's just a guy that will move the ball from point A to point B after putting a couple of dribbles down, and then the offense gets in. Like it's never very rare that his pass like actually creates offense. It's just like get to the point where we start creating offense.
I think a big part of that is just the lack of offense, because you can become, especially in his situation, a better playmaker should you attract more players because you're a threat to score the ball. And we've seen that in flashes. We've seen that when his shot is falling, when he is confident. I'm gonna say that 3-game stretch. I'm trying to think. Like a game in Charlotte, for example, he hit 6 threes in, 7 threes in, and he got 25, 26, and he looked great because he was a threat to score, a threat to shoot. I think if that isn't there, it's so hard to consistently do that, and that's why we see flashes of it. I will agree that there's no reason he still can't hit the lob, because the lob has been on many times, and Ivey instantly have an impact with Wiseman. Those guys have connected multiple times for for freebies. To see that more from Killian Hayes. Absolutely, but I think it so much of it comes with the scoring and becoming a threat. But on the defensive part, I honestly completely disagree. Especially the second half of the All-Star break. I think he's been really good, especially in situations when switched. He'll get like Jakob Pertl on him, and like, no guard in the league is gonna be able to get a stop or get a rebound in that situation. But I thought still against Toronto, obviously he was matched up against a lot of bigger guys because they were without Van Vliet, only running their 6'8" lineup. Raptors shot 37% that game. I pretty good job when switched on Barnes on multiple occasions. And I think switching Wise off of screen, he does get caught a lot. You said you don't like the way he comes off those screens quite a bit, but his rotations, I think, have really set him apart. And I think that's still a big reason why he's getting these minutes. And the hope is that sometime the offense will eventually click.
Offense is turning down. It's getting further and further.
Yeah.
He has like Ben Simmons syndrome, but he never had the high of Ben Simmons. There was one very clear one where he beat Jakob Pertl off the dribble. He's under the rim, turns around, and two-hand passes it out of bounds. Like literally, if he's just straight, because he doesn't trust himself to make the layup. And if you don't trust yourself to make the layup, the other team's for sure not trusting you to make the layup. So they'll just play you for the pass. So even when he does, like I always complain, he never puts 2 feet in the paint. Even when he does now put 2 feet in the paint, he's not even looking at the hoop. And so it's just, it ruins the point of it being 2 feet in the paint because it doesn't shift the defense because they know this guy's not doing anything with it. If I was all-time high on Ivey, I'm all-time low on Killian right now.
I don't blame you. I mean, last pod before, right? Like you got on that Killian bandwagon and he was playing really well. He gave everyone all this hope. And then all of a sudden he reverts not only back to how he was, but in some ways it's almost worse because we were up so high on him. It was, oh my God, is this the guy that we've been waiting for? And now he's back to, I don't even want to say square one because it seems like it's worse than that. 6 shots in total against Toronto. Like if you want to be a point guard in the NBA, you can't just take 6 shots and make one of them. And the only shot he made was, I think, he only made 1 3. I mean, you have 3. Yeah, he had 3 points. That's simple math. But he's got to be better. I mean, we've been talking about this for weeks now. I think it was in Orlando. I know you missed that game, Connie, but I think in the beginning of Orlando, he got back to his spot again. He snaked the screen, got into the middle and shot his little fade midi thing. And it was a high arcing shot, but it went down. So I thought that was the start of him coming back around. But then he just reverted back to his old ways again. Like you said, I don't know if he's got Ben Simmons syndrome. I don't know if he's fatigued. I don't know if he's way too worried about his job because RJ Hampton came in. I have no idea what it is, but he better figure it out quick because like I said on the last pod, last time I said he's got 23 games left in his NBA career. He's done to 21. So clock's a ticking on Killian Hayes.
Yeah.
Duran's still hurt. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, he did not look healthy.
Really looking forward to. Yeah, he did not look good in Orlando. But I had a note on Wiseman. I don't know if you guys saw this too, but he was in the pick and roll. He did a really nice job defending it. He kept the ball in front of him and he prevented his guy from getting behind him. I can only think of one play over the last 2 games where he let his big flip behind him, and that was Pertl. Like I can only think of it one time. You guys notice it at all?
Yeah, he does a good job because like he just puts his hands up on the guard, and the guard, like he's so tall, like the guard slows down usually, so he just backs up with his hands up. I mean, like it changes if you're playing against like, I don't know, a higher tier point guard than Markelle Fultz, who's a good player, but he does his damage at the rim. He's not like if you give him too much space, he'll pour. But yeah, he's honestly like defensively, it's weird to say his IQ has been better there than offensively at times, I think, of what I've seen.
And offensively, I think he did a terrible job of getting position for boards. Even in general, just boards in general. I don't think he does a nice
weak.
job. Yeah, he's kind of
soft.
I mean, he also hasn't been playing.
It's
getting on the boards. It takes to get on the offensive board, to get on the defensive board. It takes a lot of effort to fight around those box outs and battle with people. We see more. So he started. I was looking at. I mean, I was box score watching that Orlando game. I was preoccupied, but he had 0 points in the first half and didn't hit a shot, and then did all his damage in the second. Did y'all see any difference in what he was getting first to second?
Jaden Ivey.
Yeah. A lot of it was down to Jaden Ivey tracking the D a lot.
Shoot. I mean, that is another great point. Like, it's because of Jaden Ivey that he got points. I cannot wait. You guys say that he needs to like work on his offense and his smarts on offense. I can't wait for him to play with Cade. Like,
Agreed. 100%.
Oh my god! And put him out there and like just play the Bagley role with Cade picking and rolling. Cade will get him in better spots down low. I think those drop offs. I'll just replace those Hayes minutes with Cade minutes, and Zooey. This might be a good team.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. I was watching Cade highlights, like Gabe was saying. So I was watching some Cade highlights, and then I got into the draft, and I saw Amen Thompson, and I was like, just imagine having another 6'8" ball handler on this team. Like, I mean, I love Wemby. I want Wemby. I love Scoot. I want Scoot. But if we're thinking more like realistic, we're probably not going to get the 1 or 2 pick. But imagine having a guy.
You got to manifest it.
Yeah. I know. I mean, you know, the Wiseman trade kind of brought me back to reality, right? Like, bringing in Wiseman is kind of like planning for a future without Wemby, right? You're not expecting to get it. And it's hard to get it, right? Like, we went from 1970 to 2020 without getting it. We went like 50 years without getting the 1 pick.
Yeah. It's a lot more likely to not get it. It's an 85% chance that you don't get the 1 pick.
Exactly, right?
But the NBA is rigging to bring Detroit basketball back. That's why they gave us Cade and Jaden, and they're going to get us there.
For sure.
Hey, if the NBA wants to rig it in Detroit's favor, I'm all for it. But in my lifetime, I've barely seen it. So.
The Sacramento Kings gave us Jaden Ivey.
This is true.
That was a fun
This is true. They traded Jaden Ivey for a playoff run. So, I mean, it kind of worked out for them in the long run, in the short run. Anyway. But I can't wait to see what Cade brings to this team. Just he speeds up, slows down, just never is always under control. It's going to be super exciting watching him, Ivey, future draft pick, Wiseman, Duran all on the floor together. Like, I can't wait for that.
Highway screens that Stewart would always do for Cade.
Yeah.
The legal screens. I wish he just like, if it feels like Ivey doesn't like have those opportunities.
I was gonna
Wiseman, Stewart, Duran, they're all like large enough. Ivey can explode off a little bit of space. I would love to, because like he's proven his kind of like slow down defender on the back thing now. Like that should be implemented, I think.
Mm-hmm. And if Ivey said he feels disrespected. If a guy starts coming up and showing high on the screen, Ivey did it a lot in college. He can split the screen and get straight to the rim. So I'm super excited to see what Ivey does. But I agree with you, Gabe. I want to see more highway screen set. It got Cade how many easy layups last year? And for a guy like Ivey who, you know, lives around the rim, like, seemed like
you guys know in the 9 games in February, Ivey is 42% from 3. 18 for 43.
Paulo is 3.6.
Is that before or after? Because he shot awful against Toronto.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah, he's for sure bringing excitement to the city.
Bagley.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just looks quick. He looks good. That's all I gotta say. I'm usually not a fan, but he looked really good. He
was actually running in transition. I was like totally surprised. I did like a triple take. I'm like, was that Bagley running?
Yeah.
For a hammer too. I feel like every time one of our guys goes for a hammer, it never goes through. Kind of impressive.
Like Kami has a lot of those.
Yeah.
Disagree with you.
Livers had a huge dunk.
That was disgusting. I don't think you were on for it, Gabe, but I said we had like 4 on ESPN or on the NBA top 10 plays like yesterday from that game in
I'll
Toronto.
have to watch that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Marvin Bagley looked spry and like 11 offensive rebounds against Pirtle, against that humongous Raptors team. I mean, we were bricking shots left and right, so the offensive rebounds were there to be had. but you still got to go get him. And I thought he looked much more aggressive to the hoop. Like, he still didn't shoot a crazy percentage, but I thought he looked a lot more aggressive going to the hoop off of his own action than he has this season. So it's worth $13 million if he plays.
I think Dave said that in the chat. I agree. 100%. I really wish he. I know I wanted to lose that game, but I wanted him to hit that running hook to try to tie the game and take the lead, just for his sake.
That was more of the Bagley that I expected. I was upset with that shot selection.
Yeah, I was upset with it too.
Yeah, it was a bad shot.
But in this game, I thought was once again spectacular. Getting cross-eyed, and I thought he played really well on both ends. He's been shooting the three very well since the restart. 3 for 5 in Orlando. 3 for 4 this time out in Toronto. And the more he plays, the more he gets acclimated into our system. I think I could see him starting next season. As a matter of fact, I came out, I guess, with a little bit of a take for Ivey. Then I'll say with Livers, I think Livers starts at small forward next season. Proving the shot is looking really good, and what a dunk that was, man! What a poster. That might be the poster of the season for us.
I think so.
A bogey, as Connie said.
I think we could see the possibility of moving Bogey over the summer if there's a better offer that comes.
I think, I hate to say it, but this team might make more sense with Livers and Bogey starting. Livers, Bogey, and a center.
Or
what about
2-3?
What about Livers at the 2, like a take Killian?
I mean, I would prefer, if we're talking about the future of this team, like next year stuff. I mean, I want Jaden Ivey and I want Cade Cunningham out there.
Yeah, of course.
I'd like 2 shooting wings and then a center.
Duren at the 5. Yeah.
Seeing more from Stewart. I think his creation ability and his pizzazz off the bounce leaves a little bit to be desired. He throws a nice passer. He throws a nice pass, but he also falls over a lot and loses the ball.
Ever since we started mentioning it, I've noticed it so much more. Every time he just starts to drive, he just falls over.
How about Stu's poster though too, huh?
That was a nice poster. But I see him as a bench and a circumstance starter, whereas I feel like Cade, Ivey, and then interchangeable Livers and Bogey at the forwards plus a center, either Duren, Wiseman, Wembanyama, just makes a lot more sense as an NBA team. That's how an NBA team is set up.
Yeah.
If Stu's shooting 38% though next year,
I mean, sure. If Stu's really hitting, you can put him out there, but I think that is a lot more switchable too. As much as we love to say that Stu can go 1 to 5.
I used to be against people say Stu he's gonna be a good bench player because I've been so high on Stu, and I'm still so high on Stu that doesn't change. But I do think I'm more realistically seeing his future now as the backup. Even if he isn't that well, like we see Grant Williams, he doesn't start for Boston unless in circumstances, which could be the exact same case for Stewart. And I think that's a role he'll play, kind of like a Al Horford, Grant Williams hybrid mix. Would be a role off the bench for him.
And Al Horford, is an insanely good player, man.
Yeah, and I think Stu's going to be insane.
I mean, we can touch on it more towards the offseason, but with Sadiq out, who do you want to give that $20 million contract to? I know Gabe said he would give Sadiq that $20 million, but Connie, Valley, who would you guys prefer to give that $20 million to?
I mean, on our team currently?
Our team, restricted free agency, off the top of your head.
I mean, I don't know when we have to pay all our guys, but I'd love to pay Livers because we're not going to have to pay him that amount. You probably get a pretty team-friendly contract with him.
I mean, definitely just to keep the money to pay other guys on the team that are going to need it. I would love to around the long term, and I'm sure Troy Weaver will.
I would love to extend him early.
Yeah, I hope we extend him early. That's what I was going to say, because it'd be interesting to see what kind of deal we get. But I would give him obviously 3-4 years, range from 10 to 15 million.
I think
we can offer this is the off season where we can extend that offer, right?
We have them for another year. Yeah,
I think we should try. The front office should try to get Stu, because I think right now you probably get him on a pretty team friendly deal again because he hasn't really made that impact. I think there's no shot Killian gets that extension. Like he's gonna have to play for it until his contract runs out, and then we'll sign him as a free agent. But like, he has done nothing to deserve that extension.
No, not to this point. I mean, he did something, but we don't know if that was a fluke or not. Would you guys be opposed to bringing in a guy like Grant Williams?
Not whatsoever.
Not at all.
I think yes, only because we have such a glut of like big men.
Big. That's what I was wondering which one of you would say, because that was my concern too. But every time I watch Grant Williams, I'm like, oh, we'll figure it out. Like he's too talented offensively.
He's good.
Yes or no?
No. He's a joke.
Jeremy Grant.
I've been splitting hairs on that one since the report came out. I don't know how I feel about that.
I think that would depend on how our draft works out. Like if we get a good draft pick, like if it is 1 or 2, I wouldn't mind bringing Grant back and just being like competitive.
Win.
Yeah. Because then if we our two guards, whatever top 2 guy comes in, if it is Wemby, and then just like a bunch of good forwards, that's a makings of a good team.
I saw this question online. Would you guys trade Cade Cunningham for this year's 1 pick?
Yeah.
No.
What? Guys, like,
I'm more sure about Cade than I am about Wemby being healthy.
Wow.
This is a homer take. Sorry, guys. Like Cade. I mean, I love Cade.
Cade is a guaranteed all NBA teamer.
No, he's not. He's not.
He pretty much is. He put up
26
and 6 on an injured leg.
That's no
Kojo
guarantee.
starting next to him.
But it guarantees you're gonna have a 7'5", 7'8" wingspan monstrosity with agility, and like if we talk about Ivey as a guy who wants better, have you guys seen how what Victor does to prep? This man is on 12 hours of sleep a night. Has apparently cut down. If you listen to the latest Low Post, they talked about this, where he's apparently cut his group down. He's only listening to like a few advisors. He has a small group. All he does is get better at basketball and maintain his body. And I think like now is as good a time as any. I think now is the best time ever to be a humongous guy, because like now is we've like to this point the peak of sports science, and how more about how the body recovers and what to do. That he's not Ralph Sampson. He's not Kristaps. Like he's different, man. And I think like everybody says, dude's possibly the best NBA prospect ever. And as much as I love Cade, I would do it in a heartbeat.
I could never bring myself to do it in a heartbeat. Like you could sell me on Victor, absolutely. Especially with I've seen so many videos of him taking one-legged threes off the dribble, which is ridiculous. You know, he just instantly gets it in that pocket that's so high up that no one can reach. But you know, ironically, I've talked about this with Mike so much because he just loves to argue about it. I think Cade Cunningham is like, I'm so high on him. I think he's still going to be a future Hall of Famer, multiple-time All-Star. But most important, and Cade would say this, most important is he's going to win championships. He just has that pedigree installed in him, it seems like. And he's just rejuvenation to Detroit. Everything he's brought, buying into the culture so much.
He's a leader.
I couldn't bring myself to getting off of Cade.
He's just a guy with GOAT potential. Like Victor Wembanyama, like Cade has all NBA potential. Victor Wembanyama has like best NBA player ever potential.
Potential to miss his first 2 years in the league because he gets an injury or something.
Okay, you know who else has missed their first ball out of their first 2 years of their career?
That example.
Cade Cunningham.
Well, no, he didn't.
Okay.
All right, deciding factor is Wemby a vegan? I don't know, man. The question just it's in my head. I think I would do it. I mean, I'm with Connie. I love Cade. I love Cade. I love that he's on this team, but like just think about potential upside of Wemby. I mean, it's a potential versus potential battle. There's no certainties here, but Wemby's just he's literally built different.
Hey, I guess if it means we have an open guard spot for another French guard.
Oh yeah.
I guess some things could be okay.
Yeah, we're gonna become the Detroit Pistons in a second. I mean, we say it every week, so I think it's safe to say he's becoming pretty consistent.
Yeah, it's hard
He's
to
a guy.
say.
Hami can get some of that.
Some of it, yeah.
I want
Get some of it.
I want Hami on this team in the future. I want Hami on this team and we're good because I think he's super versatile guy that can be used in playoff series in scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, completely agree. It's tough to come up with new things that we haven't said about Hamidou Diallo because ever since 3-4 months ago, he's just been on this constant linear upward trend. He's going to get from him. I was actually the other game when we had a slow start against Toronto. I don't know why it took him until 2 minutes left in the quarter to check into the game. I think we had went to that point. When we're struggling like that, that's a time, that's a scenario guy. You throw in Diallo. Just an instant bundle of offense. I mean, and defense, high energy, but he's going to dunk the ball. He's going to get to the rack and put pressure on the rack as well. I love Hamidou's role. I would love to give him 5 to 10 a year. I think would be reasonable for me for Diallo.
Whenever he got mad, I think it was in that Toronto game, I was so hoping he'd just throw it down on somebody. I think he tried once, but he got stonewalled.
It'll happen.
It'll happen, yeah. Gabe, your thoughts on Diallo?
I think 5 to 10 might be a little low. I think he's starting to turn a few heads.
I think he's going to 7.
I think 10 is as low.
I was thinking a very similar thing, but then by his previous contract, but we signed him to a 2-year, $5 million extension after that. So why not shock again? He still plays for Detroit, so it's not the most coverage about him.
Hamidou Diallo on 538's projected market value, 5-year market value of $47 million, so just under $10 million a year.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I think he's worth it. Not in 2K, but in real life, he's definitely worth it.
Shots.
Yeah, it seems like he's disappeared at times.
He probably went on vacation, isn't back yet.
Yeah,
Connie had the
really
observation.
Tan.
Yeah,
he came back very tan. I'm not worried about Bogey. He'll start hitting him at some point again. He's gonna play this exact same game, or he's gonna make, or he's gonna miss shots.
You think Bogey's the type of guy like Jokic to go back to Croatia on his holiday, or he goes?
Maybe he's in Southern. He looked like he was in the tropics. I don't know if you can sunbathe.
That's what I don't know.
Early spring Croatia. I think he's just gonna work his way back into it a little bit.
I was thinking either that or we use it as an excuse to rest him a little bit. Some of those things, start livers and usual stuff we see as another season goes by, dwindling down.
Only took 5 shots against Toronto. Killian Hayes took 6. So I think that time of the injuries they've been keeping quiet all year are going to start popping up.
Sure.
Any other thoughts? 3 games this week. Huge start off the week with not playoff implications, but the closest thing we have to playoff implications, which is tank implications. We start off in Charlotte before coming home to play the Bulls, and then we boomerang back out of town, back to Cleveland. So I see 2 for sure losses cemented on the schedule on this. But something tells me that I wouldn't mind beating because they're on a 4-game win streak. We are 1 game behind the Rockets and Spurs for the number. And Charlotte is 4.5 games behind us. So even if we beat, it's not that big of a deal at this time.
I think Bulls and Cavs lock it in.
Yeah.
Hornets, Gordon Hayward's been coming on a little bit recently. And for the stretches that he is actually healthy during the season, he's a pretty good player. So I'm gonna say 0-3.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. I'm not sure who exactly we're gonna win against. I could see us beating Charlotte. I could see us beating Chicago. Well, they look a little bit better with Beverly now. They always destroy us. So I'll say 1 and 2. I think we'll pick up a win this week.
I do think about big Jade and Ivy game tomorrow.
Huge. Yeah, I can.
No defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 1 and 2. I think we're gonna beat Charlotte. Also, Mark Williams. He was number 2 big man on my draft board last year. He's starting to turn it on. He's a great player. You should watch him. If you're not, he dunks everything. And to the earlier question you posed, Ivy the best in the class. I still think Chet is going to be the best in the class.
Oh, play that Kessler up there.
And then Bulls look good with Beverly. They're up 50 points last game, and Cavs is an L, automatic.
I'm predicting now's the time to buy the stock. I'm predicting a solid Killian week. He's played good against Charlotte. Charlotte sucks at defense. I'm predicting a 10-point plus per game average this week.
Whoa.
Going huge.
Remember a week ago when you said you thought he could average 14 for the rest of the season?
I do
Go
remember.
down. 14 for the season, 10 for the week.
Just a little bounce back. Okay, I just predict a solid week from Killian.
Okay, fine. I'm hopeful with you, man. I mean, he's the guy I've really, been advocating for. I've been on the start, so I don't like being wrong, but sometimes you are. So I'm hoping he can right the ship. Agreed on Ivy. He will calm down and play really well again tomorrow night in Charlotte. Any crystal ball type for us today?
I mean, hater of the week. If we're hating on somebody, it's Killian Hayes. He's not an NBA player anymore. I guess I can't really pick anything specific out. He's got to get better in like every category to be good again. Also, again, Wiseman, give me some deep post position ever. Go get it. But then there's no incentive to get it on this team because you know what happens when you get deep post position? The only person that'll pass it to you is Stewart.
Alec Bricks has tried twice. I will say that. Bricks has tried a couple of times.
Fine. But I feel like Stu is the most consistent guy in feeding our bigs because he's the only one that gets it.
Yeah, I'm sure he gets it. I'm also a big that never feeds
his boys out. Will become a part of the dog pound.
No. I think there's a separate thing with him and Marvin Bagley because James Edwards tweeted it not too long ago that after the game, him and Bagley and Wiseman were talking about post moves and specifically post spins. I think they got their own little thing going on. Something
and they both did it. They both did it against Toronto. They looked exactly like each other.
I'd prefer him under a different influence.
Oh, I do prefer him into the dog pound as well.
I mean, he's too soft to be dog pound.
Yeah, maybe.
He has DeAndre Ayton syndrome.
Yeah, but maybe that'll get cooked out of him. He's every day in practice. He's playing against his
imagine practicing against
career rival.
Stewart,
him and Isaiah Stewart been beefing since high school, man. I bet those practices get pretty legit, and I might push some intensity, push some fire into him. Having a battle with Stu every practice.
Wiseman doesn't have that look in his eye yet. I'm waiting for it. He still looks like a little kid out there. He doesn't look like he means it yet. I mean, when he looks like he means it, then it'll mean something. Then he'll be part of the dog pound. But for now, he looks like Marvin Bagley playing any other team other than the Kings.
He also needs a lineup.
Yeah.
His beard and his hair need to cut.
But like Troy talked about, right? Like how he's getting these bigs because they can make or break a game. Toronto could not handle our side yesterday at all. And I think, the first play of the game, we went to Wiseman. A couple plays later, we went to Wiseman. We saw what happened when we fed Bagley. I mean, if we can start feeding Bagley took 19 shots, but that's besides the point. If we can start giving the bigs the basketball and letting them, when they actually get good position, do their thing. And if Killian can do it, and if Ivy can do it, and if Stu can actually tell the point guards how to actually be a point guard, I think it could be it's going to be super scary. I don't know. I've been rattling my brain since you mentioned it of names for Bagley and Wiseman, but no, I want Wiseman to go to the dog pound.
So what's your week prediction?
Mine was 1-2.
1-2, me too. Connie, what was yours?
0-3.
Yeah.
1-2.
1-2.
I think we're gonna beat Charlotte. I don't have a feeling like we're gonna blow that one. I just don't. I have feelings sometimes, and I just don't say them, and they're normally right. So I'm saying it this time because I know I'm gonna be wrong, and then we're gonna go 0-3, and then I'll be happy at the end. So, speaking like we're gonna get the one pick. I'm speaking that into existence too. Any other thoughts? Listen closely. I had teased it a few weeks ago, and I didn't say anything because it was looking kind of iffy, but it went down. It happened. We have Motor City Cruise tickets for you guys. All you have to do is follow us, the Buffs On Podcast, on at least one of our platforms, preferably all three, because you know you love us. And you got to follow the Motor City Cruise on Instagram as well. And DM us, tag a friend in the comments when I post the post. It will probably be up within the next 2 or 3 days, so keep an eye out for that. And you can get tickets to a Motor City Cruise game on March 24th in downtown Detroit. I've said it before. If you didn't hear it, it's a great experience. The arena's great. The sound system's amazing. When you walk in, you don't feel like you're walking into a college arena. It kind of has that. It doesn't feel like an NBA arena, of course. It won't, but it doesn't feel like you're walking into some no man's land. You're walking into a pretty nice arena. The atmosphere is great. The competition is fierce. So please follow us on Instagram at buffs_on_podcast, on Twitter at Buffs On Podcast, and on Facebook at Buffs On Pod. Don't forget to follow the cruise, and you can earn free, I emphasize, free tickets to Motor City Cruise game. So, I mean, if you don't like free stuff, then I don't know what to tell you. But until next time,